So, we discussed in episode 3 as to how you do relative estimation. But when I was describing the process, you might have thought to yourself that this is a really time consuming process. Well, first the BA has to read, then the developers throw their estimates, then they could disagree, then they have to go through as many rounds as it takes to reach some consensus, and then you make notes. Well, there's a quicker way of doing it, especially at the start of a project when you have a huge backlog to contend with. So, what do you do in that case? Now, a good time saving trick is to first segregate these into t shirt sized buckets. So, you create those buckets small, medium, large, and extra large, and sort all of the stories into each of those buckets. With that done, you move to the next step, which is to identify the smallest of the small stories. Now, let us say in our backlog, that one is the smallest of the small. Well, if that is the case, you designate it as your 1 point story. Remember, relative sizing is all based on a reference, right? So now this becomes your reference 1 pointer. With that said, you can get a little more fine grained in your estimation. So divide the small into 1 point and 2 points. Let the medium be a bucket of a 3 pointer. Let the large be a bucket of a 5 pointer. And let the extra large be a bucket for 8 points. Now, what you want to do when you've gone ahead and made these designations is that you do a little bit of a sanity check. Is the 1 pointer looking like a 1 pointer? Are the 2 pointers looking like 2 pointers? Are the 3 pointers looking like 3 pointers? So on and so forth. And which means that you will have to probably move some of the stories around, and you will probably find some stories of even bigger than 8 pointers. And if you have these 8 pointers or stories that are bigger than 8 pointers, then the first next step for you is to break these down so you don't have really large size stories in the backlog. Remember, the larger your story is, the more likely it is that you've gone wrong with your estimates. So break down big stories into smaller stories and try to keep them a little more manageable so that you don't have too much complexity and too much scope subsumed in one story. So that's it. That can get you really far, really fast in a very short period of time, and you will have estimates for a big backlog, which you generate at the start of a project, and you should be able to move on to the next step, for which I will see you in the next episode.